Follow me down, follow me down, follow me down. Rabbit hole.
Hello and welcome to the Rabbit Hole Heroines. I am Jessica, the big weird mom.
I am Jess, crazy mother runner, and welcome to our first episode. This is crazy. And basically we're going to deep dive with us in the rabbit hole from Proud Boys to QAnon and all the crazy stuff in between, which there's a lot. So we are super excited to share like everything we unfortunately know with y'all.
All right, so we're just going to run through a quick intro. I know we're on a new platform. Jess and I both don't really have a ton on YouTube. We have started on TikTok, so we're just going to let everyone know kind of who we are here. I am, like I said, Jessica, the big weird mom on TikTok. And I, like lots of moms, joined TikTok when the pandemic started. I had absolutely no intention whatsoever of making content. And I kind of accidentally fell into it. I started doing a little bit of commentary, kind of going into the MAGA side of TikTok and just doing reaction videos to that. And that's kind of how I started to build a following. And then one day I saw, I joined a Parler, I think it was called Parler Tantrum Spotting on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. And it's just screenshots of things that people say on Parler. And I brought it into TikTok and I was like, okay, I'm just going to read this and see what happens. And people asked me to make a series about it. And 120,000 followers later, people seem to really join in my masochistic ways of going down that rabbit hole that is Parler. I also do a little bit of, I guess you'd say, mom content. I also do deep dives into crazy mom groups on Facebook and report back the findings over there, which actually has brought out more crazy than Parler. I had people threaten to dox me there, like that you do not mess with the Facebook moms. Like, oh, it's scary. Part of Nugget Talk. That was my other mom group situation. But yeah, I mean, I've always been really, really interested in conspiracy theories and why people believe them. I'm not going to lie, like back in 2002, 2003, when all of those, 9/11 truther documentaries were coming out, like I watched them and I never believed that, people like detonate, like that there were like holographic planes that went into the Twin Towers. But like, I definitely like raised a couple eyebrows and then, it's fascinating to me to go back to that place, which to me is like the birth of the online conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. I mean, Loose Change got, I think, like 10 million views the first time around. And they've had like 11 modifications that have come out over the years. And, that's kind of where I think like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's what she believes still. That's kind of what started her conspiracy theory, issues, we'll call them.
Mm-hmm. That's an understatement.
And it's fascinating to me to learn that the guy who produced that documentary actually like regrets it, number one. And number two, like he doesn't believe any of the things that have come out after it. He thinks Alex Jones is a nut job. Like he wanted to make a thriller movie about 9/11 and he was turned down. So he made a documentary and it ruined a lot of lives.
Oh my God.
So that's my background for conspiracy talk, I guess you could say, and kind of where I want to go with my content. But hoping to explore that more as we get on to the podcast.
So obviously my name's Jess too, and ironically when we started talking, it's funny because obviously I'm a runner, it's in my name, and Jessica's also a runner, so I thought that was kind of funny. Here, two moms, both runners, who just fell into TikTok because we had nothing better to do during COVID. But yeah, I was the same thing. Like I jumped on TikTok back in April of last year, was doing the silly dances, the lip syncs, like just kind of making the occasional one-liner mom talk stuff. And I really got into doing this, like conspiracy talk was way out of my league up until recently, but I was doing a lot of the running stuff. I actually got well known for parkour, falling on a freaking gate accidentally, and it went completely viral. And now I'm like required to parkour every time I do a running video. But honestly, for me, I actually fell into, like, I've been following, obviously, you, Big Weird Mom, Nikki New, everybody since day one, like, just even though I didn't really, like, share my political opinion, I had one. And I definitely was following these, like, fantastic female creators that were putting it out there and, like, just being able to.
Yeah.
And for me, I started investigating a lot of like the Parler stuff myself back in early November, a combination of just the political tension in the world, the election, some of my Trumper family. It really kind of put me in a situation where I wanted to know both sides of the fence. And then January 6th happened, and it was kind of my defining moment where I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with the world of TikTok. Like, I know there was people on there that followed me that probably wouldn't agree with what I said, but I was like, I'm sorry, like, this is my only big platform, and it was an opportunity to like be honest and like just put it out there, like, this isn't right. Like, we should not be where we are right now. And that was kind of a one-line thing. Like, I really didn't think it was going to go any further than that. And then I'm at work and I just watched a documentary about Alex Jones and InfoWars that PBS had done. And between that and like some very crazy stuff I got involved in researching on Telegram with QAnon, I made this really random video at work, like by myself at the school. Like, this is why my brain is broken. Like, these are the things I'm seeing. Yeah. And then thousands of people were like, oh my God, like, I have family in this. Like, what do I do? How do I talk to them? And that was the like defining moment for me. Like, this needs to be a conversation. Like, we can't keep this in the dark. So basically, in the last 5 weeks, I've gained 26,000 followers.
Yay!
I know, it's crazy. I just hit like 50 or 52,000, I think. And all because I kind of delved into the other side of, this new side of TikTok. But while I have so much support, like I feel so supported, it definitely has also brought the difficult side of trolls and just the negativity that comes along with it. The irony is, like, I even with bringing the conspiracy in, like, I've never directed my, I guess, content at the political party itself. Like, I've always tried to come across as like super new, just like, hey, QAnon's bull crap. Like, we're not here for it. But yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, the people that are in it and know they're in it are triggered, and you're gonna, so, and even if they aren't in it and they know that you don't agree with their side, they're triggered. So it's definitely been very eye-opening. But, I'm glad to be on this side, and I'm like excited about, I'm terrified and excited about all of the things that we will continue to learn over the next year or so. So yeah. So that's
awesome.
Me. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're just going to ask a couple of different questions. What do you think your most wild discovery is that you found on all of your adventures through Telegram and Parler and all of those?
Yeah.
sites?
So I would say my number one is probably Simon Parks. And I kind of fell across him on Telegram. Someone had kind of mentioned him, and then I actually went on Facebook and saw family members reposting his videos. So I was like, okay, I got to know what this guy's about. So at that time, he was still on YouTube. And I'm one of these people, like, and I think I frustrate people when they see links or articles or anything like this. I immediately go and find out who wrote that article and search the hell out of them. Like, I'm not even going to read the article so I know the backstory on the person that put it out. And so for me, that was like, let me find out who Simon Parkes is. And so I immediately researched this man, and the first video I come across is him telling a UK talk show host and two hosts that his first sexual experience was with a hologram alien at age 5. And, you know, and it was basically, it looked like the London Dairy advertisement woman or some crap. Like, it was just, it was insane. And it was like, I need to know more about this man. So I then went on and, like, he told, you know, he went on to say that when he was age 11 to 12, he was actually abducted and on the spaceship. He had a 9-foot alien mother. He had, you know, extramarital affairs with aliens and has fathered alien children. That they taught him all the ways of the world because they knew he would never say anything about what he knew. Like, it blows my mind because he is a huge resource for QAnon. And I'm like, you do realize this man thinks that he has, like, intimate relationships with aliens. Like let's not even discuss what he's saying about his sources. So
I think we could do a whole episode just on that encounter alone.
I mean, he's just wild. I mean, the funny thing is he has the calmest voice. Like, I actually I hate when he talks to some of the alt-right people that aren't quite as
eloquent.
Like he's very soft-spoken. He really doesn't, he's not for violence. Like, he really thinks that, you know, everything's going to be handled the right way. Like, so he really looks at things differently where, you know, obviously he's interacted with people. Anybody that's watched my videos might have seen the one where he interacted with a gentleman that, you know, wanted to put people in a wood chipper because they were wearing masks, you know, I mean, so just, you know, he definitely does not associate with the best of people, but him personally he's a character that I don't mind staying on top of. Okay, so now what is the weirdest, wackiest thing?
You know, I don't think that, like, this could be classified as, like, weird and wacky, but the thing that, like, that I found that was the craziest situation was I just happened to stumble upon this group of people who were, like, I think it was on January 3rd, and they were all involved with the Proud Boys, and there were even some women who were trying to support the Proud Boys, and including Joe Biggs, and they were all just completely out in the open with the craziest stuff that they were planning. Like, one lady was just planning on going into the Capitol, bringing, like, illegally obtained medical supplies to help people who may have been injured. She was, like, trying to find nurses who were willing to give her saline locks and IV bags and, like, all sorts of, I think I filed like 18 FBI reports that day. Like, it was insane. And then Joe Biggs himself, who got on and said, basically, we're going to try to frame Antifa for this. We're going to go in, we're going to dress like Antifa, we're going to look like Antifa, and we're going to make it look like they did it. And he told the whole world, and then I told the rest of the world. And you know, even though those videos got taken down, even after like 5 hours, they had like 100,000 views. So, you know, they're all back up on my Instagram. TikTok will not let me keep them up because apparently I am harassing Joe Biggs. Sorry, dude. But and just the way that took off, and then that the situation ended up in the FBI report for his arrest, was that so many people had sent in tips, you know, partially because of TikTok, you know, and screenshots and screen records. So, you know, that whole situation, I think, was the craziest thing to me. And just that they were so, like, brazen and out in the open. And, like, at this point, like, this is the only time I have ever been tempted to like bait people to like get into the DMs and be like, okay, where can I meet you? Like, I'm going to be there. Where can I meet you? Like, I think I'm going to try to get out there, you know, like,
Oh my God.
and I did. And then the lady who was trying to get medical supplies, she was like, well, I need to like thoroughly vet you. So I need like your full name and your address and your blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nope,
No,
bye.
no,
Just kidding.
Not
I'm a chicken.
No, I don't blame you there. Like, not at all. But that's funny, like what you're talking about. And of course, I was on Parler too at that time, like leading up to the 6th. And I remember like one of my big arguments with someone was the noose, the gallows that they put up. And I'm like, I had screenshots of people talking about there'll be plenty of rope to hang them with.
Yeah.
On Parler, like, and I even like, I actually posted that to Facebook because I had a lot of like Republicans on my feed that were just like, it was Antifa. And I'm like, no, like, let me, and I'm like showing them my screenshots. And I actually like, I like captured the image of that, that conversation with the gallows. And I'm like, before, after, like, this is the result of what happened prior to January 6th. And they're like, that was written afterwards. I'm like, January 1st, honey, there's a date right there. Like, I don't.
Plus, why? For what? Why would Antifa, if Antifa actually existed more than an ideology, why would we attack the Capitol during confirming an election that we won? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. So Melissa says you both deal well with trolls. What is your worst troll comment and response that you have dealt with on TikTok or elsewhere?
Yeah, so super funny. When I was on Nikki and Ryan, when we were on together, one of the questions was, what's the thing you get called the most? I have to say this. And they were like, and everyone's like, is it Karen? I'm like, nobody ever calls me a Karen. I have been called a Karen like 1,000 times in the last 24 hours. I'm not even kidding. So I am now a Karen. That's fine. I usually respond with, no, my name is Jeff. But no, probably the worst one was when I got told, you should drink some vodka and take some sleeping pills, as basically a response to me voting for Biden.
What?
I mean, it wasn't even like, and I responded back, and I actually like used it as a learning experience. Like, hello, like, I'm sound mind, but like, this is not appropriate to tell a stranger on the internet because you don't know where they are headspace wise. And TikTok took it down because I was bullying and harassing the gentleman that basically told me to go kill myself. So I'm just like, okay, TikTok.
Wow, okay. TikTok.
Not winning right there. But yeah. I know. I see Ryan over there. That's funny. I'm a Karen now. Yeah.
I think mine, this goes way back. I don't even think I might have had 5,000 followers at this point, but it will forever be my favorite comment when someone came into my comments and said that my parents getting pregnant with me, like as if I was a mistake. And I was like my husband saw the comment come in, like saw my face with the comment come in. I was like, I'm so excited to respond to this one. And I like sprinted to the reply with video button. Like I threw out my neck and I threw out my finger. And I was like, hi, I have lesbian parents. Like I am the farthest thing from a mistake that anyone can ever get. Like more planning. More planning went into having me than 10 pregnancies. Like, let's just leave it that way. Yes. He deleted his comment pretty quickly.
I'm sure he did. The one that came at me deleted his comment. But like, a lot of times they'll immediately like block because they don't want to be trolled either. He didn't. Like, he stayed on and kept like, he went in hot. Like, I have screenshots of some of the stuff he kept. Like, Night Daddy 68, if you're out there, I know you, and I don't like you.
You will remember that forever.
I will remember this man's screen name until the day I die. But yeah, he was not pleasant. So, okay. Wow. So what has inspired you to keep trolling and keep diving into Parler and Telegram and all of the places we go?
Yeah, like honestly, like I feel like it's those comments and messages, and like, I try to stay as accessible as I can. It is pretty time consuming to answer most of the DMs that I get. But if someone is typing words to me, like, I will respond to them, and my DMs are always open. And I have had so many people who have told me their story about how their aunt, their son, their dad, their best friend, is no longer speaking to them because they refuse to join in on the conspiracy theories. And, how, like, I grew up in a really liberal area. I had my, obviously growing up with two moms, I had some bullying, but like, for the most part, Northern California is the place to be, where, if you're going to grow up with, lesbian parents. And, but moving to a more rural area now, and being in a completely red area, I can totally identify with that. Like, meeting someone on the streets and like wondering if you can speak freely with them about your family. And like, my family is very close with me. We live on the same property. They see my kids every day. Like, they're such a huge part of my life that, I have to explain my family tree to lots of people. And it's really hard to wonder if you can talk to somebody and, wonder what they're going to do, and to see F Biden bumper stickers, roaming around town. And like, I can't even imagine what that would be like if that was someone in your own family, or who you would say is your best friend. So, if I can, give someone a piece of content that they can show their friend or their family member that says, hey, look, at these people are crazy. Like, come on, let's go bed. Let's have some tea and some cookies, and we'll, listen to some music, and we'll get back on the right side. So what about you?
It's a lot of that too. I think like initially, obviously it was for me to like know how to be better prepared to like conversate with, even people that I am friends and family with, because I live in Virginia, and unfortunately we are a very mixed bag now, given we're technically a blue state, but I live really near some rural areas that we were at. I have a picture on my phone. We were at Target, and a little truck that had probably like 30 Trump flags and stickers, and I mean, it looked like it belonged in a Trump parade, was parked in the parking lot. And this was after he had lost. Like, it was just, and I'm just like, really? Like, this is what you drive? Like, what's going on? But, I agree. Like, I've just found that if we don't, I feel like QAnon grew over the last year because a lot of people on the left, particularly, were ignoring it. Or maybe didn't even know about it. Obviously, January 6th really brought a lot of things to head. But I mean, I think even the people that knew about it just like were like, oh, it's not a big deal. And like, let's just sweep it under the rug. And I think it's like, I mean, I kind of made a video recently, but I'm like, if we ignore it, it's going to just grow and fester and be, no worse than COVID. Like, it's just going to continue to amass, and we're not going to be able to do anything about it. And I just think it's something that has to stay at the forefront of the conversation. I had a girl that literally commented on one of my videos, one of the conspiracy videos, and she's like, I'm so upset. I had a friend for 14 years, and it was a female, and her friend was a male. And she's like, we've been friends for 14 years, and really this last year has just completely divided us. Like, I haven't spoken to him. He basically like just denounced my friendship. And she went to, and so like this was earlier on, and then after January 6th, she went on to, I guess, try to reach out to him now that like, obviously election's done, like, let's move forward. He was one of the people in the Capitol and was arrested and has federal charges against him.
Oh my gosh.
And, she's like, this is someone that I grew up with. Like, this is someone that I considered practically family. And not only, but, and she goes, and he still thinks he should have gone. He still thinks what he did was, worth the fight. And she goes, and that's, and so I think that's my thing is, I joke because I am somebody who refuses, like a lot of people, like, you respond so well to trolls. I'm really stubborn. It's not that I respond to others' trolls. It's just I don't like to be wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really the reality of me. And I see blocking someone as admitting like I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'll
Yeah.
just take the heat. I mean, obviously, if it just becomes name calling, I'll call them out, and I really won't really respond unless they're willing to civilly engage. But I won't block them. Like it's just that is my stubbornness. That is it's a Scorpio in me, I guess. But
Yeah.
and and I've had several recently that I've continued to go back and forth and give facts, and they've blocked me. And to me, I hate to say it, but I wear it like a badge of honor. I'm like, that
Yeah.
to me means that I've said so much that you really have walked away with the fact that you don't know what else to say to me. You don't know what else to argue. Like I've literally had 3 today that blocked me just in conversation. Like I didn't even make a video. But I try, my problem is I really do try to respond to those people in particular. And then I get blocked out by that block me, and I can't the people anymore. I'm like, I'm engaging with people. I'm like trying to like be informative, and you're screwing me, TikTok. Like I can yell at people all day on Twitter. Like, get with the program, TikTok. Like, help me out.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. I'm so quick to block. Like if someone writes even like somewhat Trump-esque comment, like this comes from having a permaban. Like I have had so many community guideline violations that they actually banned my account for a full day. And that was super, super scary. So if anyone is like, it even shows the most remote inkling to be a Trump fan, I'm like, okay, we're going to block this person so they can't report me in the future.
I probably won't get there. Like, again, like I've only got into this side of TikTok like the last like 5 or 6 weeks. Really, I mean, it's been kind of all of my content, but even I did a video. What did I do a video on? It had nothing to do with conspiracy or anything. It was like a running video, and I had 3 people on there say Trump 2021 or 2 say Trump 2021, and I was basically like, duty lost, let's move on. And then one said Trump 2024, and I was like, okay, I will totally get behind this one because at least you're thinking in reality. However, I will not be voting for Trump. Like, I'm just like, so I'm kind of letting them like fly. And I had one actually apologize to me today, like, I'm sorry. But I'm still early, so I'm sure I'll get to the point, whether it be because of videos being taken down or just frustration. But I'm still fresh. I'm still like ready to deal with them and put up with their BS. And
so what's going on in the QAnon world for the last week or so? What's your content been about, and what have you found in that corner of the internet?
So obviously the impeachment has been a big talk in the Telegram chats, especially on QAnon. I have one. I know you're in probably some Parler chats on Telegram. I have one called Parler Hub, where they actually have turned it into a Parler Hub Investigatives or something. Like they're literally, or Research Hub. They're literally like taking the QAnon drops and like delving into them. I've done some audio from a couple of the guys in there that are whacked, like. One's named Arizonia, and the other one's Darren. But so they've been talking about the impeachment. Like half of them are like, well, that's because he's still president, which really doesn't make sense, because then the other half is like, he couldn't be impeached because he isn't the president, or he can't be impeached because he isn't. Like, it's so much confusion. But lots of like images of like Trump on Rambo's body. He won the second impeachment. And then of course recently, Simon did a interview with like Charlie Ward is a big guy that he talks to a lot. And then Robert Steele, who has a show that's still active on YouTube called The Right Side. And then this Tom Numbers guy who is like new to me. He did a video with Charlie Ward and Simon on Charlie's, I guess, podcast or whatever on BitChute. And he did this crazy ramble about how the numbers equal, like, I don't know if you did this as a kid, but like A equals 1, B equals 2, and you would like do like fun little number games with like your name or something. So this man has basically like delved into adding up every letter of everything that seems significant to him. and make it mean something. So like Trump's acquittal equated to, I'm trying to think of the number. I want to say it was like 166. And he's like, it also means Jesus of Nazareth. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. We are not. No, they are not on the same spectrum. And then he did another video with Just Simon 2 days ago, and it was on his YouTube, which is still active. Like I think he presents himself as like fantasy fiction on YouTube, so he hasn't been one of the few that hasn't been like dropped. I think if YouTube like figures it out, he's gone. But so he did this whole thing, and like he legit referenced Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, Terminator 2, and E.T. as like numeric tellings through QAnon, like predicting Trump would be anointed by God as our leader to save us from ourselves. Like this was all like this giant narrative. 40-minute video, and 20 minutes of him is like spouting off words that equal numbers that equal another word. Like it was just like you needed to smoke a lot of weed before you like sat down and really like delved in, because even then it wouldn't make sense, but at least you'd like not walk away with a migraine, which is literally what I had after I listened to the nonsense. So he seems to be a new fun feature of Simon's. Simon's really into him. And the funny thing is this guy had nothing to do with Q, nothing to do with any of this number stuff until COVID hit. And he legit said this in the video. He's like, yeah, I just like discovered I had this gift, and and I'm just one of these people that really likes to know things. And so Simon was even like, oh, so like, did you really learn from like the QAnon drops? And he's like, actually, I really don't even pay attention to that. It just comes to me, and like I've learned all of this in the last 11 months, and I'm brilliant, and I know what words equal. And I'm like, okay, like no. So that's been mainly what I've been talking to, I guess. Those are my talking points for the week. How about you?
Well, obviously Parler's back. It took like almost 3 full days. No, it was probably 2 full days, where everyone was having issues getting back on. I think there was just like this mad rush to get back onto the app, that their network, which is, already probably in their server, which is shoddy because it's not Amazon. They were just completely overwhelmed. So for 2 solid days, I could see that people were posting, but I could only read what was up on my notifications. And then when I clicked on it, it would say, network error or whatever. But now I think, it's only been about 24 hours now that people have been really able to post. Everyone is kind of nervous, I think, to say anything, and the people who aren't nervous are exceptionally stupid. I mean, like, if you are going to go back to the social media platform that was used to arrest people after the insurrection and continue to make all of these crazy, claims, you are stupid. I mean, that's just, I'm just going to say it. But I think the other big piece of news that I don't think a ton of people heard about, because I'm super shadow banned, is that Trump, it was actually found out that earlier this summer during the campaign, Trump was offered 40% of Parler, like 40% ownership of Parler, if he made an account with them. So he wouldn't even have to give them money. He would just all of a sudden have ownership just because he made an account. And obviously his lawyers and his advisors told him not to, because that's like for real bribery, and as a president, he wouldn't have gotten away with it. So they actually revisited it, I guess, after like late November. They offered it again, and and I guess they turned him down again. And then I am just kind of speculating what's happening now. I have been saying this whole time, Parler, Trump does not have a Parler account. And that news story is confirmation of that. There was a lot of people that were saying that he was releasing videos right after the insurrection and everything. And he definitely wasn't. He definitely, if he has an account, it's a sock puppet account, and he's just keeping an eye on people, whatever. But he definitely doesn't. I would not be. I up until now, I would have been really surprised if he made an account. But now that he has completely lost his voice and Parler is back up, I am expecting it to happen literally any moment now.
I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would kind of kill. I think it would kind of kill any chances of him running for public office in the future. But I think that's kind of beating a dead horse at this point. So, if he wants to have any type of microphone in this world, that's probably going to be it. But Parler has started doing a little bit of moderation. At least that's what it appears. Milo Yiannopoulos was...
The one guy's gone, right? John, the one that I guess
John Matsey.
Yeah. He's fired by.
Yeah, he was fired because he suggested that they do moderation. But then as soon as they got back online, Milo Yiannopoulos started saying a bunch of really super offensive stuff that I can't say here. And
I can imagine. I follow him on Telegram. He's horrific.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, his Telegram is way worse.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's sad.
And it's terrifying. It's like not for the faint of heart. Like even in our neck of the woods, it's not.
No.
So he's trying to get people to go on Telegram, and he is refusing to come back onto Parler unless they give him the drunk wine mommy badge, which I don't know what that means, but that's what he wants.
He's so gone. Like I don't even know. Oh my gosh. And when Trump lost and like he just annihilated it. He was going crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was literally like, he lost because of me. I'm like, what? Like what are you talking about? He's so wild. He's so wild what comes out of his mouth.
Yeah. He thinks he is way more relevant than he actually is. Although I kind of give him more relevance, but whatever. It's funny.
He's definitely got a platform. I mean, I don't know why people are listening to him, but he's definitely got a huge platform.
Yeah.
I was the one YouTuber that I've kind of made reference a few times. He actually has mentioned him how he's so beyond the alt-right community. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's crazy. All right.
So, if you guys who are watching, all 8 of you, if anybody has any questions for us, we would love to open up the floor for any type of questions you guys have for us. In the meantime, while we're waiting for those to roll in, just what are you thinking that you're wanting to do for the podcast? Because I know that we're calling this Rabbit Hole Heroines. Like that doesn't limit us to just this corner, what are you hoping to do?
I mean, obviously I feel like you've kind of cornered the market on Facebook, Mom. So that's definitely something that we could bring to the table and talk about. I'm so scared to get on Facebook anymore. Like I feel like I don't belong there. Is it sad that I feel more at home at Telegram than on freaking Facebook? That's sad. I don't know. It's become a really weird place. But yeah, I'd love to talk about that. I would love to start digging, I think, a little bit more. Like I haven't really delved into the Q drops as much. There's just so much information there. I've looked at it. I've done screenshots of it. Like people think that the stuff I screenshot now is wild from just the back and forth of like the people. Like you go to the Q drop page and you're like, wait, what? Like the numbers got nothing on the Q drop page. So, I mean, I'd love to like maybe get it. It's so confusing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff they share on Telegram, like has no home in any other place on the internet. I mean, it's
Yeah.
basically a step up from like the dark web. I mean, I'm sure you've seen some stuff that like is surreal. Can y'all stop throwing story fire? What does that mean?
So I just Googled story here. We'll put it up. I don't know who this person is. I don't know if you're a troll. I don't know what's happening. Corey Peterson is saying, can y'all stop throwing story fire? I Googled story fire, and the first thing that came up is join the story fire rebellion. Watch and create the stories and videos that you want while growing a massive fan base. So that doesn't make any more sense than when I started. So Corey, if you want to, if you want to clarify or whatever, we'll just think that you're a troll, I guess.
We're very used to trolls. We may not.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
That's well, you know, I mean, I'm 39. I'll be 40 this year, so I'm definitely not. You know, so there's some language that like the teens throw at me. Like I know they're trolling me, but I'm just like, huh? I'll be like looking at my 16-year-old, like, what does this mean? What are they saying to me?
But on the other side of things, like I'll get comments like that, and I will think that people are trolling me when they're actually like giving me a compliment or something, and I'm like, oh, okay, sorry.
My bad. Yeah. I would love to like. I was going to say too on the podcast. I would love to do like we could do like quick little talks about specific topics, like especially if something big happens. Like I'll be honest, like I want to do a deep dive on March 5th. Because March 4th is like this epic date in the alt-right community. Like they have this, without a doubt, you know, feeling that Trump is going to be reappointed as the president on March 4th because that's the actual inauguration day. So yeah, like there's definitely some like big date, and I know the goalposts will get moved again. And so of course, when that happens, we will definitely have some new material to look forward to.
Okay, Lisa, Miss Binky, I know who this person is. She's do you think people have always been susceptible to conspiracy theories and we just haven't known? Or is there something about our social media disinformation era that lends itself to it? I think it's a kind of a combination of both. Like I'm gonna be totally honest. I was talking to this person on the phone earlier today about this podcast, and she was giving me lots of ideas that we could go into for, you know, conspiracy theories that happened hundreds of years ago. You know, you could go way back. I think that social media has just compounded it. You know, I think that we are, and it makes this kind of found footage way of streaming social media, especially on TikTok, just kind of the norm, and it just adds things so much quicker. And I think that's what I was kind of talking about earlier with 9/11 and loose change was the first time that we ever had this, you know, conspiracy found footage documentary where you could interpret anything any way you wanted. And that's what makes it worse. I think that social media has just increased the amount of conspiracy that we see.
I think for me, I think in the past year specifically, there's a lot of people that, I mean, and I have a great example. My stepdad is, you know, retired, upper 50s. He'd always been like on his computer, but he would like go do car rides with the police or go have go have lunch or coffee or like go to the church and do secure. Like he had these little things that kept him busy. And there's so many people like that exist that when COVID hit, those little moments to get away and to live in real life disappeared. And like they were completely susceptible to what was being fed to them, particularly on Facebook. I mean, Facebook, like TikTok, uses an algorithm, and you're following people that align with your views, and they're sharing things that align with your views. And so you're living in what I call, like, I reference it all the time, but an echo chamber. Like you're being echoed the exact things that you kind of believe and want to believe. And so when you have more and more of that information, and mostly myth or disinformation being fed on your feed, of these things that you've already aligned your brain with, and you throw in the fact that you're super isolated with so much time in your hands, all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to go watch this 40-minute YouTube video. I'm going to go watch this, I'm going to go look at this little link that someone sent me. So I feel like a combination of COVID and those echo chambers that we kind of create ourselves in social media really has contributed to how bad it's gotten.
People always have content streaming into their brain holes.
Yep. Always.
I'm going to let you take this one. So Melissa says, I've never heard of Telegram. Can you tell us a bit more about your experience there?
So Telegram was kind of like the jump ship when Parler went down. I think it was something that a lot of people found out about. It's a really interesting format. It kind of reminds me of like old school AOL because there's individual chat rooms that you can join. So I know one of the ones that I went to immediately was called, actually it was called Parler Ship, like Lifeboat, Parler Lifeboat, because it was their concept of jumping ship. And that was when they kept kind of pushing on Parler when they knew it was getting ready to be kicked. So we created that one. I've got a few other like Parler Hub research where they're like, now they're delving in, like I said earlier, on QAnon stuff. And then I'm a member of a lot of the QAnon chats. And there's anywhere from like 10 to 20, 30,000 people that are joined to these chat rooms, and they'll come in and out. Telegram's really interesting too, because a lot of them have a communication option where you can actually join in live conversations. You can actually have a physical talk with other people on these apps, which I have done.
You are so brave.
In fact, when I have 2 sign-ons because my daughter was on with me one day and we got into a debate with these people, and I've talked to them, but I never like got too hostile or controversial because I didn't want them to like know that I was full on like anti them. But she did not hold back and like legit just went off on them about, like socialism and abortion. And it was crazy. So needless to say, like they're trying to respond to me and her, and I got blocked like mid conversation and I got bumped out of the room. So I had to create a whole new account to like get back into my main room. I'm like, you gotta get this out. But so Telegram's really wild, but it's also got this interesting feature where you can actually have conversations with people and, try to debate. They don't do it as often. I've definitely seen the community die a little bit as time has gone on. But there's still the people that are diehards that just want to believe without a doubt in their mind that things are going to flip.
Right. And the diehards have like they are diehards and they post the craziest stuff. Like I've been back on, really searching through Telegram a lot more the last week before Parler came back on, and the stuff that I saw was worse than I have ever seen. It's like the people who are still hanging on, like they are the scariest of the bunch. That is for sure. Can you find specific people's chat rooms on Telegram? Because I've found a couple people that I know, and I want to know which chat rooms are they in. Can you do that, or is that not a thing?
So you can search a name, and I've had one time where I searched somebody's name because like I had an incident with one guy who like I recorded his audio. It wasn't in one of the phone talks. It was actually him like, when you send a text message and you push the button to do an audio recording instead of like typing it out. So they were doing a lot of that, these 2 that have been pretty dominant in the one Parler that I hang out in a lot. And he was going on about how, patriots get 75 get hundreds of your closest patriots armed and go to your nearest politicians with resignation letters. Like that was their like game plan because they're crazy. But I did like do a search of his name, and him in particular popped up with some links. So some of them have that information shared, like open, that you can see what other chats are affiliated with it. So I think a lot of them have privacy settings on. But like big time people like MTG, I'm on hers and I see her. And she basically mimics what she puts on Twitter. But of course, the engagement is what interests me, because while she's making the same posts that she has on Twitter, the people that are commenting in those threads are way more intense, or probably not even on Twitter. They're probably blocked. But you're really getting to see the other side of how that community thinks about the things that she's saying. So I kind of like that aspect. Like Lauren Boebert's one I follow, MTG I follow. And I don't even know if it's really them or just someone regurgitating their Twitter feed under their name. But either way, it's still like a good opportunity to see the people that are in there and what they have to say about their conversation.
Yeah. Wouldn't you say that conspiracy theories are akin to a religion? kind of like weaves itself in and out of actual religion too.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I've seen, and I think it's like provides a really comforting, pillow for people to fall on, where they're like, okay, like with the 9/11 thing, it's like, okay, well, what's more scary? Is it more scary that the government did this to us, or is it more scary that some unknown, group of people that, who, you can kind of, in your brain, you can kind of process a little bit more that the government would want to do this. I don't know. I think it's comforting for people more, just like religion.
Well, QAnon and specifically, of course they believe, they believe in a cabal, satanic cabal is kind of overtaking our governmental systems, and that basically celebrities, Democrats, liberals, anybody that is a left-leaning person is a part of this giant satanic cabal, and they are using children in very demonic ways to keep their just keep their skin beautiful, to keep their youth. It's really crazy. I'm sure people have heard of Pizzagate and things like that. So they believe that, but the reason they did that is because they are appealing to that conservative Christian. They're saying, don't you want to save the children? Don't you want to be a part of this cause that's against this satanic, So they're actually using these people that do view themselves as Christians against them as a way to draw them into what is really a cult. And then on top of that, there are evangelistic churches that have taken on this belief of QAnon and are teaching it in churches. I mean, there are probably Sunday schools happening all around the world right now where there are like, this is happening and we have to rise against this evil. And and I consider myself a Christian still, although I'm telling you, as time goes on, it gets harder to align with these people because they're such extremists, and they really sour the pot, I think, for everybody that wants to have that true view of God being love and all accepting, and that's not what they stand for. And so this cult thing is really kind of feeding into that narrative.
Yeah. Well, and if they did any amount of research on QAnon and the people who have been proven to be behind these posts, they have accusations of child pornography sites, and they're actually it's just picture perfect chef's kiss irony, that these Christians want to support the children in the abstract before they're born, while they're still in a mother's body or whatever. But as soon as that child is in front of them with real proof that it needs help, they're I don't give handouts.
Nope. Well, so I don't know. It's really funny. So, and this is one of the things that was actually, I forgot to mention this. This is a big topic the last week on a lot of the channels about Ruben, what's his name? Ruben Verastestigal, who was a social media and one of Trump's aides. In fact, he was at the White House on Christmas for an event, for one of the Christmas parties, as an invite, for the Trump, administration, part of the GOP. He was just arrested for appalling child pornography. And I mean, I can't even say on here the stuff that he was into, the stuff that he was talking about in private chats. It was appalling. And they are literally all over his chats trying, oh no, he was anti-Trump. I'm like, he was a member of his, but they that's what they do. They immediately, and just like Watkins, it was outed that Watkins, who is basically the owner of 8chan and who a lot of people believe is the source behind Q, he also got caught and charged with child pornography on his computer. So it's these people that are actually affiliated with the conservative, right wing or whatever, the extremists, they are the ones being arrested. They are the ones being outed for these kind of charges. And yet they're sitting here wanting to, make up these crazy accusations about everybody else on the left. It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah. Irony at its finest. All right. Well, I think that'll kind of wrap it up for the day. We really, really thank all of you for joining, and we are really, really looking forward to this project. I think we've got lots of people who are ready to come and share their stories, and I am really excited. Where can all of these people on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to podcasts, where can they find you, Crazy Mother Runner?
So I am Crazy Mother Runner on YouTube. I'm Crazy Mother Runner just on YouTube. I'm Crazy Mother Runner on TikTok and Crazy Mother Runner on IG. And then I'm also Crazy Mother Jess on Twitter. And then of course, we are going to be uploading our, the sound bites for what we're doing here on our podcast, which is the Rabbit Hole Heroines, which you can get on any Apple podcast, on Spotify, all that. So yeah, that's where we are.
Awesome. Yeah. And I am the big weird mom across pretty much. I am the only weird mom, I guess. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of the places here on YouTube, and looking really forward to getting onto the podcast scene. So if you're watching this, please subscribe to our YouTube. We're trying to, YouTube is kind of the only place that we're able to get monetized as creators, and we would really appreciate it if you could give us a like, follow, and subscribe, or whatever you're doing, wherever you're watching or hearing this. But yeah, we will see you next week, everybody. Yep. Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.